Would you be so kind as give us like some statistics of how big this tent is?
Well, actually, the big top itself is 110 feet long. It's going to be 80 feet wide and 30 feet tall when they're all done building it. We can seat 600 people in just our seats alone.
Thanks so much for coming out.
And with ground seating, we've got right around 800.
So how long has the circus been in business?
Well, I'm actually going to gather everyone up and bring everyone to the front, and we'll get started. So we haven't even started the tour yet. But this show's been around since 1985.
1985, so it's been around for 40 years.
That's right. This is our 40th year. Hi. Where we're standing now is kind of the back and kind of the way of the crew. So I'm going to bring us all around towards the front of the show. We can start the tour properly. Sound good?
Yeah. I like the dog.
Oh. Okay, let's go for a walk. Follow with your man. Oh.
What's the dog doing? What's the dog doing? That's not even Mom.
Hey, buddy.
Here's Randy.
Free tricks. Look away there.
Hey, Koi. Koi. So cool.
I see it. Where is he?
Not right now.
See? Where's the two big kids? Oh, there's actually one. Wait, are they gonna? Oh, there's another one. I see another one. Another one. I'm so happy if they actually bite themselves.
So how many animals are in this circus, pray tell?
Actually, we have 2 lions in the show right now, and then we have our beautiful horses and our beautiful horses and ponies for our pony ride.
I also was told there was a tiger.
There is a tiger. She's not performing right now. She's semi-retired. We'll talk all about her when we get over there.
Okay.
Nope. Just because you're small doesn't mean you're a baby. Nope. You can't walk up to strange animals no matter how cute they are. Everything has teeth. Except for birds. They bite you. Still bite you. It's not fun.
Time-wise. All right.
We got just a couple of minutes, my friends. We're going to let these folks catch up to us over here. Supposed to tour right at 9:30. So we only got a couple minutes left. My name is Leo. If you have any questions, if you want to catch some shade, it's a little over here right now. While we're waiting, if anybody has any questions or concerns, please feel free to ask whatever I don't know. I'm happy to make up, okay? So we'll be doing a tour of the circus grounds. So we can film that and cut that up as much as you need to, whatever you need for. And if you have other individual questions or things you'd like to know, we can do that as well.
Okay. So what made you decide to start the circus in the first place?
Well, I didn't start this circus. I'm not that old.
Oh.
No, this show started out way back in 1985. It was founded by 3 circus performers that were working for a much larger show.
Ringling Brothers?
Nope. There are actually a lot of circuses out there. They're working for a show produced by a gentleman named Big John Strong. And it's a big 5-ring show in the 80s. And they realized they were driving through small towns that no one played. And they thought if they made a small circus, they could fit in smaller communities and smaller towns. And they're way ahead of their time. Most newer shows that open nowadays, even shows that play bigger cities, are 1-ring style shows because it's a more intimate experience. I like your hat. That's very cool. There we go. Got a few more folks coming. I'm going to be loud for a second. Morning, folks. Come on out. A little raspy, sorry.
That morning voice, you got to clear it out, right?
I'm fighting tree allergy or something going on.
Well, there's lots of that.
Never used to bother me, but this year I've been really flared up.
Who's this?
This is Friedrich. He's my manager.
Just started alone.
Friedrich's almost 2 years old.
I think he's the vice tour guide.
He's my dog.
He's your partner in crime.
My buddy. I actually got him from an animal rescue last March. This year. Unfortunately, part of it, I brought 40. Take one tour in the morning here on Strangers Have a Positive Experience.
Yeah.
And that way you can get a little more comfortable with people and become a better dog. Working pretty good so far.
It is.
Just about time. Thank you for your patience, my friend. Just friends, just a couple more minutes. Let these folks catch up to us.
All the way to the top. And a band.
This one I got. Oh yeah. Sneaking up on us. We are a short two crew, guys.
My sister
Oh, that's perfect. Be gentlemen.
So how long have you actually been in charge of this circus?
Oh, I'm not in charge of anything, brother. That's why I'm here standing and talking to you guys.
Oh.
No, I'm just the clown in the show. And in the morning, I'm the tour guide, so I'm full of general information, and I like to share that with people.
I guess that explains the sideburns, no offense.
No offense taken. That's why I grew them out. It's a purposeful act. The sideburns started out as kind of just a joke for rehearsals for a show, and they got popular, and now they became my look. So
Oh.
I've had these since 2003.
Oh, so you've been working here for over 20 years.
No, I've been working here for 11 years. I've worked for a lot of different circuses.
Oh, okay.
Quick. Ah, you're cool. He's over here. He's small. You have to look around people.
Too small to see.
He's small in everything but attitude. Be gentle, my friends.
I found it in
Boy. 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 All right, my friends, let's start properly. Good morning. That was underwhelming. Good morning. It's a bit much, but I like it. All right. My name is Leo. I want to welcome you to Culpepper and Merriweather Great Combined Circus. That's the name of our show, as you can see from our trucks and from our hats and from our shirts. Culpepper and Merriweather started out way back in 1985. We are currently based in Hugo, Oklahoma, and we started indoor tours near there. We normally travel for 8 months out of the year, from March through October. This year we're performing in 10 different states all over the Midwest, covering right about 12,000 miles by the time we're done. So to do that, we normally get up around 5 or 5:30 in the morning, drive between 10 to 200 miles, set up our big top, put on 2 shows, tear it all down, get some sleep, and do that again the next day. Speaking of big top, I'm going to swing us around. The rest of the crew is just about to get started. Come right this way, my friends. Salud, salud. Now, my friends, I know there's a lot of you. Let's spread out in this area so everybody can see. Yes.
Make sure you let the little one see, okay?
Now, my friends, normally when we get to a town around 7 or so in the morning, the crew gets right to work unloading our big flatbed trailer across the way. We call that truck the pole truck. Hey, Bubba, where you headed?
Justin, come here, buddy.
Stay here with us, pal. They don't need any extra help right now, but thank you for helping. We call that big circus truck over there the pole truck. We call it the pole truck because it carries everything for the tent. So in the old days, there would be a pole truck that carried the poles to the big top. There would be a canvas truck or canvas wagon for the material of the tent. There would be rigging trucks for the ropes and tools we used to build the big top. But nowadays, with a small show like ours and a big modern semi-trailer and truck, we can carry just about everything we need on one big flatbed trailer. But for some reason, we still call it the pole truck. Sometimes the old names just stick. They've actually laid all the poles on the ground where the big top is going to go. They drove 117 4-foot-long steel stakes into the ground all the way around the big top. They do that with these 16-pound sledgehammers. The crew actually works in groups of 2 or 3 per stake, depending on how hard the ground is. It does take a lot of precision, accuracy, and trust to swing hammers as a team. In fact, when you're new to a tent crew, even if you have previous circus experience, they often make you work by yourself until they can trust your rhythm and your aim. That's another reason I'm out here with you guys and not back there with them. Listamos con hello! That was the tent boss asking for ready. You guys are ready, right? That's the gross, buddy. Thanks.
There's people underneath. The tent is blowing up.
Now the crew is going to start pushing the poles into place to raise the tent into the air. Because of that, we call this style of big top a push-pull tent. Now, push-pull tents are the most traditional style of circus big top. It's a system used with smaller tents like ours. That's smaller because it's a one-ring show. It's obviously still a pretty big tent. It's 110 feet long. It's 80 feet wide. It's going to be 30 feet tall when they're all done. We comfortably seat right around 600 folks in just our seats alone. When we do get busier than that, we allow ground seating and standing room. With that, we can put right around 800 in the tent. So bring everyone you want. We'll make space. Free trip. Koi. Welcome in. Now the very first set of poles they push into place we call side poles. We call them side poles because they're the poles on the side. Right. Circus terms, generally speaking, are pretty straightforward. What it is and what it does, we slap those two words together. It's important our technical terms are so quick and easy. We have people in the circus industry from all over the world. Even our little family show of 25, we have folks from Canada, all over the United States and Mexico. We actually have 4 spoken languages on this show and lots of different cultural and educational backgrounds. Everything from GEDs to Ivy League degrees, of which I have neither. I went to a regular high school right here in Brookfield, Wisconsin. Now once we get the side poles in place, we're going to use a little extra help truck pushing up the larger poles. When the guys lay the big top out in the morning, every day they take a little time to put the tent together and do small repairs. So as the tent goes up, you're going to see the seams where it's laced together. You're also going to see a lot of small patches and repair work on top of the big top. With a good crew knowing what they're doing and doing almost daily repairs, it makes the tent last a lot longer, of course. Our boss always says big tops last us between 3 to 8 years. That number varies so much because there's so many variables. We play lots of different surfaces, not always beautiful parks. We play a lot of gravel and asphalt, concrete, a lot of hard packed ground, a lot of desert floor when we're on the west coast. So all that's pretty rough on the tent. Plus just the wind and the weather can do a lot of it too.
What material is that made of?
It's a very thick vinyl. We still do often call it canvas out of just tradition and habit. It's a very thick vinyl. In fact, it's so thick and heavy, it's a lot heavier than you would think. The smaller outer sections, as you can see, it's 3 panels, are right around 700 pounds when they're rolled up. And the big center section is closer to 900 pounds. Hi guys, come on over this way. There's might be a big camel right where you're standing. There's some more room over here. There you go. Hi guys. You look fantastic.
Oh, she had to dress up.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm glad somebody did. That way I don't have to. Now they're going to use a little extra help to lift these larger poles into position. The poles going to come up right now are called quarter poles. The quarter poles are 22 feet tall. They're going to push 2 in at once to really open the big top up. To do that, they're using a little extra help. They're using a diesel skid steer bobcat to do the heavier lifting on the tent. Now, traditionally speaking, that would be an elephant's job. This show did actually have an elephant act in the late 80s to about 2007. When they retired, we did try to replace them. We just couldn't find anybody we could afford. So we don't have elephants the same reason you don't. They're big and they're expensive. Elephants are not illegal anywhere, but some states are passing laws that limit or prohibit the transportation of certain exotic species in other states, which does directly affect circuses with certain animals. They couldn't take them away from us, but they can make it more difficult to have them. So, your neighbors in Illinois were the first to pass that law. I'm not surprised. And then more recently, Michigan, Colorado, California, and Washington. I know of 2 shows still on tour in the South with elephants, and a lot of shrine dates still use elephants. Shrine dates are booked by the shrine, but the people that put the show together are actually circus producers hired by the shrine to put together a show for them.
Did you guys have any other special animals in the past?
We've had all kinds of animals to show the show's history. The show's had dogs and camels and horses and all this stuff. Right now, we just have our 2 beautiful lions in the show. As soon as it's safe to do so, I'm going to get us over there closer to see them. We have a lion cub who's 7 months old, and we have a young male lion who's 4 years old, and we have an older tiger who's not performing in the show right now, but she's still our responsibility to take care of, and she's going to be 22 next month.
How long do tigers normally live?
5 to 8 years. In the wild. In captivity, that's pretty common. It's around 15. It's a good expected lifespan. They actually have a very similar lifespan to the domestic house cat. In fact, our big cats are like your house cats in every single way except for their size. Now the crews are working their way down one side of the big top, pushing these larger quarter and smaller side poles into position. Then they're going to back up and do the same thing along the other side. That's really going to spread the big top out. That way when they put up those big center poles, they're not fighting the entire weight at one time, putting too much stress or pressure on themselves or their equipment. It takes our crew an average of 3 hours to build the big top. Don't worry, most of that's already happened. We're not standing under for 3 hours. And then tonight when the show's over, they can take it out, wrap it up, pack it up, and get it back on that truck in right about an hour and a half. Both those are work times like you're seeing this morning. Nice and steady work, no panic, no push, no shove, no run, no scream. Just working well together. Now our other big important show truck is that big red painted semi-trailer. We call that big red painted semi-trailer the box truck. Now I know it's not a box truck because, well, this right here is a box truck. But we call that the box truck because it's the box office. It's also our concessions, kitchen, makes all your favorite circus things you guys get to have once a year. Yeah, we have every day. But nothing's ready in the morning. We make everything fresh for the show. So no cotton candy for breakfast, I'm sorry. And you're welcome. It's good to want things, certainly always good to get things. Hi guys, I just walked up. You want to see a little better than normal on that side?
How much in the box office do you guys normally make in every town?
It varies from town to town, plus a portion of our box office goes back to our sponsor.
And what sponsors that?
Who's our sponsor here today? Anybody know? I'll look it up real quick. Fire department? Are we? How? You're just making a random guess.
No, I read that somewhere.
Oh, okay, it probably is. So we work with a different sponsor every day, so sometimes it's hard to keep straight in my little head. I think today might be the fire department. Look, pull it up real quick. That's one of the things of being on tour for 8 months and being in a different town every day. It's not always easy to keep it straight.
So in every town you get
Thank
sponsored.
you, Connie.
So in every town you get sponsored by local businesses.
Well, usually it's by a local organization, like a charity, like the Chamber of Commerce, or in this case, it's the people that work with the fire department. The proceeds from our box office go back to your town. So our show isn't just a show; we're also a fundraiser. It's a model the show has adopted to help it make it easier to get in and out of smaller communities and make our show mean something more to the community as well. A lot of towns we play every other year. We come back. We've been coming back to for years after years. We become kind of a part of their community. Hi guys, come on over. There's some more space on the side if you want to spread out and see the big top go up. If you have any questions, my name is Leo. If you don't have any questions, my name is still Leo.
Wow. Look at it go up.
Now my friends are going to get the other side of the big top up. Then they're going to back up and put those gigantic center poles into position. The crew is working very hard to build the tent, get everything ready for the show. By the time the average audience gets here, they're not going to realize what our crew truly does to make the show possible. But we're here now, so I'd love it if you'd help me out. We're going to give them a little bit of appreciation. When they put up that gigantic center pole, we'll give them a nice big round of applause. Now, you'll know the center pole is standing because it's 30 feet tall and has a red, white, blue flag waving on top. Circus folks are not known for subtlety. We were wearing rhinestones before it was cool. Those are some nice sequins, though. Now, normally on our 8-month tour, we have 2, sometimes 3 full days off. I know the boss spoils us. Now, we work as hard as we can while we can because we tour for 8 months. We have 4 months off in the winter. So we have to be more ant than grasshopper in the circus. In fact, 4 months off is a long time to have off. A lot of circus folks get what we call town jobs during the winter. You probably just call them jobs. And then some circus performers do other performances or other shows in the winter as well. Christmas themed shows or holiday shows are all pretty common for variety artists to work on.
So what kind of performers do you have in this show, perchance?
We have all kinds of acts from all over North America. We have jugglers, trapeze artists, wire walkers, daredevils, a very handsome clown with big sideburns from right here in Wisconsin. There's lots to see. And like most circuses, expect to see the unexpected. There's been a lot of things that will surprise you today, but it's also a very traditional one-ring show. You're going to see a show today that your grandparents and great-grandparents would have seen 100 years ago, but we have a slightly better sound system.
What do you mean by slightly better sound system?
That was what's called a joke.
Oh.
But all jokes are rooted in truth. It's an old sound system. Now this big top itself, the guys go through so much about making it up and down and carefully and doing daily repairs to keep it in shape because it was a little expensive. This tent cost us right about $50,000 back in 2018. That price just gets you the vinyl, the top itself, our walls that hang on the side, and our entryway tent. All the poles and equipment you see we reuse from big top to big top, and all the ropes and cables we buy separately and in bulk as we go through a lot of it during the lifespan of a show. This tent was made by the Vasquez Tent Company in Dallas, Texas. It takes about 4 months to get a new one made. We actually just got our quote on potentially getting a new one for next year, so we'll see how it lasts through this tour. The outer, smaller sections are about 700 pounds and they're rolled up. The center section is closer to 900 pounds. And on top of that, you have all the cables and ropes and poles. It's a lot. The technical term is a lot.
Where in Wisconsin are you from?
I grew up in Brookfield.
Oh.
Not too far away. In fact, my older brother and his family still live in Hubertus. I've got a lot of friends over in Milwaukee.
There it goes.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Let's hear that round of applause. My friends, that was pretty good. A lot of you are getting the idea. Some of you are thinking applause. Doesn't quite work the same. Thinking emoji doesn't really make us hear what's happening. We'll try that one more time. When they put that second, there they're going right now. Let's hear it again. This morning. You guys are trying to get ahead of this wind that's coming up. Now, every day, the lay of the land and the weather are different. So there's lots of challenges for our crew to face. These guys can build the tent in winds up to about 30 miles per hour and still get the job done properly. Once the tent is guyed out all the way and set up properly, it can take winds to about 70 miles per hour and stay a stable structure. Claro. Now you guys moving just a little bit for me. He's gonna hook up a big steel cable right here. Claro.
So have you had to cancel any shows because of bad weather?
We do on occasion. This year we've had to cancel 4 towns for flooding. If the park is too wet to work in, we don't want to just come in and destroy your property and get our truck stuck. So we had such a rainy season, we had 4 days canceled for that. And then we've had 2 evening shows canceled for severe thunderstorms. We can cancel, delay, or postpone for your safety and for ours. Of course, we don't want to do that, but safety does come first. If our cancellations happen early enough in the season, we often do try to make them up at the end of the tour. So it all depends on what we can logistically handle. because we have a lot of commitments. We play over 200 towns during our tour.
She said that's your show.
Now, right now, the crew's working on a pulley set on the back side of the big top. They're tightening up the rear cable. That's straightening those center poles out. Once the center poles are right where the tent boss wants them, he'll call out. My buddy Lalo's going to tighten up the front side with a big ratcheting chain come along. Now, bulk of our crew comes to our show all the way from Puebla and Veracruz, Mexico. We do try to hire labor here in the States first. Whatever positions we can't fill that way, which is usually most of them, we go through our immigration lawyer, bring our guys over to work visa. They come over for the 8-month tour, they head on home for the winter. We start the process all over again. So if you want to run away and join the circus, we start looking in November for next year's show, cmcircus.com. Legally, we cannot just take your children. So if that's what you're about this morning, I'm sorry to disappoint you. They're going to go home with you today too.
You want to stay with them? So you gotta pay.
We're not allowed to do that anymore. Sorry. Also, like in most sales situations, if you don't want it, we don't want it. Now the center poles.
Thanks a lot.
Now the center poles are guyed out properly, so the crews can start repositioning and tightening down our quarter and side poles. Our big top has two 30-foot tall center poles. There's 16 of those 22-foot tall quarter poles and 48 10-foot side poles holding everything up. Every single pole is guided out to the ground with a rope or steel cable. That's why there's so many stakes in the ground. He doesn't touch it. Finish it right now. He's not really a dog like that. We're working on it. Preacher, go ahead. Now we can start to see underneath the big top. As they're getting these side poles into the proper spot, they're going to lean them down at an angle. That's important. It keeps the edge of the big top lower, which does two important things. Let's get the proper tension on the tie-down lines, but also it lets our crew hang the walls on the big top without climbing up and down on a step ladder or a stool every 10 feet. So it's faster, more efficient, and a heck of a lot safer. Once they get these walls hung properly, then they'll straighten the side poles out. Makes the tent nice and crisp and even, puts even more tension onto those tie-down lines, which is the stability and strength of the tent structure. Now until they get this first point really guyed out strong, the big top might start to sway and dance a little bit. If the tent does start moving around, don't worry my friends, you are safe where you're at right now. You'll know you're not safe if I run away. So if I take off, it's been wonderful meeting you today.
Keep it back to Dreamwork. Get it! Get it!
Now we can see underneath the big top. At this point, our performers often start bringing in props and rigging to set up their equipment for the show. Generally speaking, most circus performers build, maintain, and set up their props and rigging. That way they know it's done properly and they can trust their life to their equipment. You're going to see a very traditional show today. You're not going to see safety lines and harnesses keeping our performers in the air. Everything they do today is based on their real strength, on years and years of practice, and on traditions passed down through their families for generations in most parts.
You at least have nets for the trapeze artists, right? In case
we
they
do
fall.
not. That's why I said no nets, but thank you for paying attention. The only nets we have are fish nets. And those you wear on your legs. They're not for safety. Well, actually, they do help you grab the webs and stuff. Now, there are quite a lot of us. I would like to take you guys closer to see our big, beautiful cat. But we're going to have to be very careful. There's lots of equipment on the ground. Most of it's here for a reason. Also, everywhere our crew drove a big metal stake into the ground, there's a big piece of metal sticking out of the ground. If you walk into a steak at the circus, we call that steak bite. I do not recommend it. So please, we're going to watch our steps and watch out for one another. I'm actually going to bring you guys back towards the trailers, and we're going to cross this way. So let me get ahead of you over here. Boy, tigers, you might not think of it, it's more for their safety. So big cats are susceptible to a lot of things that we haven't managed to. It's actually been a big problem this year with bird flu. A lot of cats in zoos have been contaminated, and I've had a lot of health issues because of that.
We're just looking. We're just looking.
Now these, hi guys, come on over here. These are my friends. If you're a bigger person in front of a littler person, switch it up. Now these three big beautiful cats are the stars of our show. Our cats are all natural. They're not fixed in any way. They are not spayed, neutered, declawed, defanged, or tranquilized. Our two big adult cats are rescues, and our cub here is a newest addition to the family. So across the way, that beautiful striped girl over there is Delilah. Delilah's our golden tabby tiger. Delilah was actually rescued from a zoo that got shut down in northeastern Texas for not taking the proper care of their animals. Mr. Key, or Trey, the owner of our show, stepped in and rescued her when she was only a year and a half old. She was severely malnourished and underdeveloped. It took almost 2 years to get her healthy enough to travel and perform, and she's been performing with Trey for a little over 18 years now. She's going to turn 22 years old in July. The average lifespan for a tiger in the wild is 5 to 8 years. In captivity, that's pretty common. So around 15 is a good expected lifespan for a tiger, even female lions as well in captivity. Males tend to not live quite as long. She's 374 pounds. Delilah's semi-retired this year. Because of her age, she's having a little bit of arthritis issues, and right now she's having a little bit of an ataxia. So if she looks a little stumbly to you, that's a nervous condition. It's one of the side effects of her new arthritis medications. We're trying to get everything balanced out. Now Wendell is our big adult male lion. Wendell was actually being raised by some people back in Oklahoma in their house like a pet. That sounds like a good idea to you. I hope you have a big house and a lot of money. Unfortunately, the folks that bought him had enough money to buy him, but not enough money to take care of him properly, which happens a lot with exotic animals. So they realized they were in trouble when he got to be about 6 months old and was right around 80 pounds. At that age, he's about the size of a golden retriever with all the energy of a kitten. Not a good combination. They surrendered him to their veterinarian, who had no idea what to do with a growing lion. Their vet got a hold of a wild animal rescue group who got a hold of us. We've had Wendell since he was 8 months old. When we got him, he was right around 100 pounds. He was actually pretty close in size to Nelson here right now. Wendell just turned 4 years old in January. He's 450 pounds. At 4 years old, he's considered a young adult lion. So he is still maturing and growing. He might get a little bit bigger. His personality is going to continue to develop, but he's pretty much an adult. He's pretty much full grown.
How long do lions live?
In the wild, a little less than tigers. I think it's like 4 to 7 years. In captivity, again, double that. So right around 14 or 15 is a good expected lifespan for a lion in captivity.
You cannot run by the animals.
Yeah. We get a few more kits and some costumes, you might have an act lady. It's pretty good. Now Nelson here, we got from a private breeder out of Florida. We've been looking for a young lion to grow up with Wendell because we know we only have so much time left with our beautiful Delilah. So we just got Nelson in November. When we got him, he was just over a month old and right about 10 pounds. If you follow us online, there's lots of pictures of Nelson growing up over the winter and on this tour. Get a really idea of how amazing and cute these animals are and why people would want to buy them and put them in their house. But don't do that. So we've had him, he's just about, 7.5 months old now. And he's right about 100, 110 pounds. At this age, he's growing so rapidly, he's putting on right about 5 pounds a week. By the end of our tour, he could be upwards of 180 pounds. And at least twice the size physically. This gentleman is Trey Key. He's the owner of our show and the trainer and presenter of these cats. So you guys notice with you guys, they're not scared of you, but nobody's really that excited to see you, no offense. When Trey comes around, they're house cats. They run up to him, they want his attention, they want his affection. He's also their food guy. That goes a long way with cats. If you have cats at home, you know that.
What kind of food do they eat?
They're carnivores. You guys know what a carnivore is, right?
Yeah.
So they eat raw meat. They're going to eat between 10 to 15 pounds of raw meat each, 6 days a week. Now, a fasting day is pretty standard manner of care for big cats. It allows us to make sure everything is digesting and passing properly. In the wild, cats like this, they don't eat every day. They eat when they catch something, they gorge themselves, eat as much as they can, and sleep it off, sometimes for days at a time. So fasting and feasting is smart in the wild because you don't know when you're going to eat again, but it's not very healthy for their body. That's actually one of the main reasons they live so much longer in captivity, is a smaller, stabler, healthier diet. My doctor says I have to do the same thing, but I'm not doing it yet. Yeah, you can see how big Wendell is when he's moving around. He's a standard African lion. You can see by his tawny coat, that sandy color, his darker mane. He's got some black towards the edges there. Now Nelson might look a lot lighter color to you because he is. One of Nelson's parents was what's called a Champagne lion. They're not from the Champagne region of France. They're actually just a lighter color. Their mane, when it comes in, is very blonde, almost a white. So you can even see some of his mane starting to start already. He's getting that little mohawk in the back of his head there. Nelson. Now our cats are all transported in these big rolling kennels. These are larger in every dimension required by state or federal law. We made them as big as we could where they're still manageable. These roll and lock into place in that truck for travel. It's also what we use to get them into the big top for the show. The larger day cages give our cats 100 square feet of personal space. Now when the guys are done building the big top, which is coming along nicely, the very last thing they're going to do is build the arena. Our arena is 34 feet in diameter. It's 15-foot tall steel cable cage. It's going to keep you guys safe from our cats during the show and vice versa. There's some strange people out there. You probably know who they are in this town, but we have to be careful. We put our cats in one at a time during the afternoon to make sure they get enough exercise. That way by showtime they've been fed, they've been exercised, their needs are met. Makes them a lot easier and stabler to work with.
What kind of tricks do the lions do?
Well, everything you're going to see them do is all based on their natural behavior. So you're going to see rolling, climbing, jumping, going after toys. So everything's based on their natural behavior, especially nowadays. You're not going to see a hoops of fire and chairs and pistols and whips. Those are all in my house for later. For juggling. No, the act you're going to see today is a very gentle act. Trey's really just going to show you by training Nelson and Wendell how he trains his cats. So give you a little insight into it. Trey started his career out as a circus clown, so he'll add a little comedy into it too. But that's kind of what working with cats today. Anybody here have cats at home? So our tigers are a lot like your house cats. They sleep right around 18 hours a day, off and on throughout the day. So if you're wondering what our cats do, it's this. And then male lions, if a male lion is taken care of properly and feels comfortable enough, they can sleep up to 22 hours in a day. I know, it's a good job if you can get it. So lions in the wild live in a group called a pride. In the pride, the lionesses hunt for the pride. They bring back game for everybody. The lionesses actually protect the pride's area from intruders, and the lionesses take care of the cubs. I think you ladies know what I'm talking about. So if a male lion doesn't have a lady lion to impress or something to eat, they sleep. That's their gift. It's a good job if you can get them. Now I know I've been throwing a lot of facts and figures and numbers at you guys all together, all at one time. Does anybody have any questions or things you'd like to know? Yes, my friend?
My cat is like very old because she is dying.
That's very old for a house cat, that's right. That's also a statement. I do appreciate it.
I know that she is 133 cat.
Well, yeah, the whole cat, your dog, your thing's just a way for us to comprehend that some animals don't live as long as we do. But time is time. You get advantage of whatever time you get, whether it's 7 years in a year or a year in a year. Now behind you, my friends, is the finale of the show. You might not see it because it's covered up with those tarps to keep the weather off of it. That's called the Wheel of Steel or the Wheel of Destiny. If you're particularly melodramatic, that's the Wheel of Death. It stands up on 4 enormous legs and spins around its center axle at 25 feet in height, which of course is high enough to be very dangerous. But the big top is only 30 feet tall, so there's not a lot of room for error in this act. The Perez family are resident daredevils. They're also wire walkers. You're going to see Belgica Perez walking on a tie wire during the show as well. Right now our performers are bringing stuff in, so I know I've seen the rigging going for our trapeze, and some of our props have been going into the show. Does anybody else have any questions or things you'd like to know? We can't really get over there because we were laid out, but from here you guys can see my favorite part of the circus. That red trailer over there. Can you guys see that red trailer across the way? That's called the cookhouse. So So we have a full-time cook that travels with our show. She makes everyone that works for the circus 2 hot meals a day, keeping us fed as we go down the road. Traveling with the circus and driving through small towns, it's not always easy to get off the lot and find grocery stores or make healthy meal plans for our families. It's very easy to fall into having a fast food and junk food. Truck stops are awesome places, but you shouldn't get all your meals out of them. So the cookhouse helps keep our diet a lot healthier and a lot more balanced. And if you're a cheapskate like me, I don't buy groceries for 8 months, so it works out pretty well. Unfortunately, she doesn't have enough for everybody this morning, so we'll have to leave her alone. Yes, my friend?
What attracts someone to work for the circus?
Lots of things. A lot of circus is still very much family tradition. So you're going to see people in the show that have worked together for multiple generations. Their families might have owned shows in the past, work in different circuses. They're passing down their family history and culture to the next generation. And then you get people like me that just happen to do it accidentally. I went to high school in Brookfield, Wisconsin. I was planning on going to MIAD, Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, and I'd actually lined up courses to become a welder. So I wanted to become a welder and take art classes and do sculpt, and then have a real trade to make a living. And then I found a pamphlet in my guidance counselor's office. Pamphlets were like websites on paper. I found a pamphlet in my guidance counselor's office for the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Clown College. And my guidance counselors and my teachers and my parents were all really pressuring me to go to college. So I went, oh, here I got one. So I called and went to an audition down in Chicago, and I got in. And my life took a really hard left turn.
My brother tried and
Yeah, the year I auditioned, over 5,000 people auditioned, and my class was 34 people, and 3 people didn't make it through the course. So it's a really hard odds to get into. It's easier to get into Harvard than it is to get into college.
The lion is elephant.
But Clown's better than people. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. I liked circuses growing up, but I wasn't an avid fan. I didn't know about you could just join the circus. I think you had to be born into it. So.
he started off with just magic tricks.
Does he still like do variety?
He loves magic tricks.
Is he coming to the show?
No.
Boo!
No.
That's what I say. Boo!
He's traveling right now.
Well, that's.
We can't even make it to the show. We drove an hour away because you guys weren't coming to Dowsman this year.
Oh, you guys have got to come see us.
So she wanted to see Miss Simone. I was like, well, we'll go to
She is out there running around somewhere. I haven't seen her. Yeah, she's not working the ring. If I see her, I'll point her out.
One more hand. Back to one.
Well, my friends, I don't have too much more I can show you. As you can see, the walls are up. We cannot take you inside the big top. The guys have more than enough to worry about in there. We don't want to just get in their way. But I really want to thank you for coming out this morning. There are fewer and fewer big top shows in the road, so we do appreciate your interest and support. A high five. Did you have a question? What's your question, my man?
How do you set up all the circus parts?
Kind of. So right now the outside stuff's all set up, but they're still going to do some building and rigging on the inside, but we can't go there, would be in the way. They're also going to bring in the seats and the lights and sound equipment as well.
So what other towns are you doing later this year?
Well, all of our schedule's up on Facebook about a month and a half at a time. We were playing a different town every single day for 8 months, so I can't just rattle them all off.
Any others here
I
in
don't
Wisconsin?
know. Yeah, this is our 3rd day in Wisconsin. We're actually going to be working our way through Wisconsin for the next couple of weeks. Then we have dates in Minnesota and Iowa, and then we swing back down through southern Wisconsin as well. So we'll have dates closer to like Milwaukee and Waukesha and stuff down there.
What's the farthest from here that you've performed?
Well, the show's based in Hugo, Oklahoma, and we get the farthest east we get is Eastern Ohio, and the farthest west we get is Oregon and Washington. Because if you go further than that, you get really wet. Quite. But yeah, generally speaking, we play 10 states in the Midwest this year, and then next year we play 15 states along the western United States. But yeah, we have all our schedule up on our Facebook page, and also our website, cmcircus.com. You want to check us out. We're also CM Circus on Instagram. If you want to get a taste of what the show's all about, we even have videos and clips up and pictures and stuff. Are you going to make it? Are you all right? You volunteering to be tribute for the cats? You're tired, yeah. Being 7's really hard. Well, my friends, I'm going to walk us back up towards the front. Let the guys finish up what they're doing out here. I'm going to hang out in the front for a little while. Anybody else have any questions or concerns or things you'd like to know? I do love talking about the show. It's my favorite thing to do. So I'm going to swing around there. Hiya, pal. Did you have a question? Or you're just saying hi?
You gonna say goodbye to the lion? Say see you later?
Yeah, little lion.
Yes, then let's go. Come here, buddy. I know, we can't take them home as pets.
No, that was the problem in the first place. All right, my friends. Come right this way. Left in the brewer's beer.